And Machiavelli started his philosophy, first of all, rejection of religion, rejection of morality into the politics. So let me start first the Machiavelli. See, as for the Machiavelli is concerned, he was not a philosopher like Plato or Aristotle. He was not like a thinker like Karl Marx and all that. But what he was, he himself stated that he was practicing politician. Politicians. He was much more interested to write on the art of governance, how to govern a state, because he has seen his eyes the kind of fragmentation, the kind of fragility, the kind of stability in Italy. And that time Italy was divided five, in the five states, and out of the five states, they were fighting to each other. There was an instability. And the point is that why they are fighting, I will discuss into the later when he will explain the human nature. So, he was much more concerned to give a certain logical accounts to stop this kind of insecurity, to stop this kind of disorder, fragility, and anarchy. So, during when he was born, Italy was divided into five states, and the states, for example, the kingdom of Naples one, the territory of the Roman Catholic Church two, and the Duchy of Milan three, republics of Venice and the Florence four and five. And only the two states like republics of Venice and Florence, they were republics. So you can see how they were fighting to each other, and the neighboring states were very, very strong. For example, France, Germany, and Spain. So there was border insecurity was there. So this kind of situations forced him to to write something about the art of governance, and because he was very passionate and patriotic kind of philosopher, and who was much more concerned to keep the to keep the order. And that is why, in that background, we need to see his thought on, first of all, morality and religion and the human nature. Before coming to the morality, that is important to understand and to know about the human nature. See, he was very close to the Hobbes, but the Thomas Hobbes was the later philosopher, but he was very close to that philosophy that he said that human nature is not somehow scrupulous in the morals. Human nature is not somehow it's a kind of saint of image, as a good image, and he fundamentally he believes that human is a very bad, competitive, quarrelsome, constant warfare, a cunning, fraudery, each and everything. He is the negative character of the, which we call as a negative, but for the Machiavelli, it was somehow the reality of the human nature. This is very important point. The entire universe, the entire world is not describing Machiavelli in a negative canon. But let me tell you, for Machiavelli, he was realist. For Machiavelli, he was explaining the human nature of the scientific basis, because he has seen the instability. He has seen the human being is power-seeking, egocentric, pleasure. They are fighting for the pleasure. They were not concerned for for the supernatural, pleasure and the pleasure after the death and all that. So this was the background. This was the ecosystem that motivates him, to write something on the human nature. And his in that perspective, he wrote three very leading works: The Art of War first, the Discourse on Livy second, and the most important authority on the governance is the Prince. So somehow the three important books he wrote, as I told you. So let us understand the human nature. As I told you, human nature is somehow the negative. So, if and human nature is very self-centric, the human nature is very competitive. if the human nature is quarrelsome, if the human nature is perpetual of fear, so what is the result? The result that a state based on the moral considerations cannot control, cannot give the order, cannot give the stability, cannot give the peace. So in that background, he has narrated. Somehow he has narrated in terms of you can say you know uh, uh, a double standard of morality for state, one morality for state, another morality for individual. That is important. Double morality is important to understand Machiavellian philosophy. So, what is the double morality? Because he was very clear that the state, the role of the state is to manage the society, and since the state is the highest social organization, the highest and the supreme organization on all associations, so state must be placed very above position. No authority is above the state, and I'll discuss it when I will be coming to the his thought on religion. But let us understand for here the morality. So he suggested for the unscrupulous prince, unscrupulous king, unscrupulous despotic king. So his king was based on unscrupulous. We say unscrupulous in the eyes of Machiavelli. It was, let me tell you very frankly, because generally we are no narrating, we are no explaining Machiavelli in terms of the positive side, and that is why we always define Machiavelli unscrupulous. But this is the reality for Machiavelli. And Machiavelli says that only the unscrupulous leader, only leaders should be think, or the king should be think from moral, amoral, non-moral, moral and immoral, but somehow beyond the morality, the questions. There is no matter at all. There is no moral consideration for the prince, for the king, just because king need to control a human nature, a society that is based on the violence, that is based on egoism, that is based on endless desire. So somehow this is somehow no the characteristics that he has mind. And for that, if the moral considerations will come into the mind, so state cannot control, state cannot resolve the conflicts, state must be above. And that is why he says injustifies the means, might make the right. So this is somehow his views on the his views on the morality. So are you clear, guys, on the morality? Hello.
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. Let us talk about the his views on religion. As I told you that the way he was convinced that moral constitutions should not come into the action of the prince. So in the same way, as I told you that the medieval period, time medieval period was known as especially I'm talking about the 15th century till the 17th century, there was period of Renaissance. A Renaissance, as I told you that the center of study, center of activity should be the human. We should more concerned about the human pleasure, human satisfaction, the human needs. We should not be bothered about the that is what bother about the moral considerations, bother about the ethical considerations, bother about the spiritual considerations. And that is why he refuted Thomas Aquinas' view on the law of nature. So he rejected Thomas Aquinas on that. So in that sense, you can say that the religion must be separated from the politics. And he was the one who laid the foundation for the secular state. Let me tell you, he was the first philosopher in entire political philosophy who talked, who vociferous, vehemently, who very frankly, talked about the uh, uh, secularism. The politics must be diverse from the religion, and religion must be diverse from the politics. Both have a different domains, and the politics, it deals all the walks of the life, all the associations, and religion should not come into that way, that domain. If there is indifference, must be diverse, and that is why there is a clear-cut separation the politics from the religion. So he was the for the first who was trying to was trying to secularization of politics. He was the one philosopher who talked about the secularization of politics. The politics must be beyond the morality. Politics must be on the religion, because both weeks, uh, both undermines a prince's position. Prince would want to be in a position to take any bold step to resolve the social order, to resolve the social anarchy. That king must be absolute power, absolutism. He supported the absolute power, right? So though he was supporter of the Republican form of government, but for that he said, to establish the Republican form of government, he said, for that people must be virtuous, honest, and obliged. People must be virtuous. People must be honest. People must be moral. So, Republican, there is a precondition. There is a prerequisite. Some the preconditions to have the kind of Republican. But no, in his life, in the entire life, he has not seen any kind of this virtuous people. The kind of five states of fighting to each other for the selfish, and for the self design, and to maintain the happiness for the own family and all that. So in that perspective, you can see that Machiavellian thoughts on religion as well as morality was very clear, and he laid the foundation for the secularization of politics of modern state. This is somehow the concept of nation state first. The concept of nation state that come into the full-fledged form in the 17th century in the writings of Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau. But it was Machiavelli who laid the foundation of modern state. First point. It was the Machiavelli who laid the foundation of secularization of politics. It was the Machiavelli who laid the foundation for the strong nation, a strong state, and a strong leadership. All the three tenets that Machiavelli made unparalleled contribution to the political history, to the political thought, to the political theory, the entire political theory. No other philosopher taught as Machiavelli in a very frankly and very coherently and scientific way that the politics must be separated from the religion. Politics must be placed above the morality, because morals are the obstacle for the king, and kings should not be bothered about the moral consideration. It stops, it dilutes the king's activity, and king must control the corrupt peoples, aggrieved peoples, bigots peoples, ungrateful, deceitful. He narrated the individuals are very deceitful, very, very ungrateful, as a corrupt people. So in that ecosystem, moral consideration cannot give the order. And for that, Machiavelli strongly advocated the strong leadership, the kind of diplomacy, the kind of how to rule and how to maintain the social order, and the order that is based on the anarchy, order that is based on social fragility, order that is based on an honest effort. So in that scenario, you can see and that Machiavelli's contribution to political philosophy, in terms of the secularization of politics, in terms of the talk about the morality, because the entire politics it was grappling in the entire Europe during the medieval age. Which power is supreme? Whether the church power is supreme, whether the Pope power is supreme. That was the question. That was the central question. And very frankly, articulately, he made a very articulated contribution. He made articulated views that yes, politics must be above from all other constitutions, just because politics is the supreme organization, is the supreme association. Politics means nation state. All other associations are below, are you can be placed under the supremacy of the nation state. So the concept of nation state that came into existence in the full-fledged 17th century, but the foundation was laid down by the Machiavelli in the 17th century. So, guys, this is the his views on double morality, his views on civilization politics that today we can see all around the world, civilization of politics. And the third one is that how a state should be strong under really strong leadership. So this is somehow his teachings to the modern kings, the teaching for the leadership that a leader must be a very, very conscious and must be central to the focus to the order and security and the well-being of the human. So thank you so much. This is all about the Machiavellian thought on politics, on religion, on morality, and the rest of the views, his views on, for example, there's one topic that is left is his methodology, like he adopted historical method, and he's known the first modern political thinker. Because first modern political thinker, you are very clear. The first modern political thinker, that means he separated the politics from the religion.